So usually when people think about conversion and about conversion funnel, they relate to the marketing conversion funnel. We all know that. We have a banner. We are trying to increase the number of views or impressions on this banner. Then we are doing all kinds of tweaks in the banner in order to increase the number of clicks on the banner. Anyone who clicks, we are trying to increase the number of registrations. We have call centers. We have information in the site. We are trying to make them register in the site. Then we are convincing them to deposit our traders. And then they are reaching the stage of the payment page, the deposit page, the cashier, whatever you will call it, and we think everything is fine. We finish our job, and now we can get their money. They will deposit, and we will start making money from these traders. Well, this is not the case. In fact, you have a lot of work to make sure that this trader who reach your cashier or your deposit page will actually give you his money. What are the main challenges, or what are the main stages? The first stage is the user experience. We want to make sure that the user will understand the deposit page, will actually put his credit card information or any other alternative payment method, and will press enter. This stage is a very important stage, the user experience part. I will show you later on what are the main issues and what are the best strategies to overcome them. Fraud prevention. After the user is filling all his information, the transaction is being sent to the fraud system and being screened by the fraud system. We want to make sure that this fraud system will minimize the false positive. We want to prevent chargebacks, but we want to increase the approval ratio. We want to filter the minimum percent in order to increase the approval ratios. And the last stage, bank's approval. The transaction is reaching the bank, and we think, okay, what the bank has to say, this is something that we can change. This is not the case. We can improve the approval ratios. The declines, not all of them. In some cases, this is a decline that we don't have anything to do with. But in a lot of cases, the decline is generated because of the risk system of the acquirer versus the risk system of the issuing bank. There is a complete ecosystem that is generating this decline. And by optimization of this ecosystem and by optimization of the routing to the route bank, we can increase the approval ratios. What is the implication? Let's put some numbers into it, right? We're talking about payments. We need to see some numbers. So those are the numbers. Huge numbers. If you have 100 users, right, that you invested all the marketing budget, you convinced them to deposit, you spent all the relevant parts in the process in order to bring them to the stage of the deposit page, and you think, okay, we got their money, we can start making some money, then you will lose up to 40% of them. On average, it's 20-25% of those users, because they will leave the payment page because of all kinds of reasons that I will show in the next slides. Then the fraud prevention system will filter up to 10%, while the real fraud ratio is around 2%. So we have 8% in some cases of false positive. 10% we will lose on the fraud prevention system. The bank approval can decline up to 40% of the transactions. The average is around 20%. So in total, we can lose up to 65% of those users who are coming to our payment page or to our deposit page. From 100 users that we were smiling because we were able them to convince, or your sales guy was very happy because he was able then to invest in and to trade, we will lose 65 of them. Only 35 will actually give us their money. With the right steps that I will show here in the presentation, we can improve this number by more than half. We can bring 70% of them to bring us their money, to lose only 30%. So let's start to talk about the different stages. So we have three main stages of the payments conversion funnel. The first one is the user experience. The second one is the fraud prevention, and then the bank's approval. What are the main reasons for leaving the payment page? Because the payment page is confusing, complex. It's not in the right language. We don't have enough options over there. We have too many fields. There are not enough logos that will make the user feel secure. Lack of localization features and payment options. We are bringing him to a specific country and we are not giving him all the local payment methods. In some countries, and I will show it later on, credit cards can be only 30% of the market. In some markets, credit cards are enough. But in a lot of, or in some cases, you need to have all the local payment options. Incompatibility with the device. He's trying to deposit from his mobile and he's getting something that he cannot relate to. Either you don't see the page properly, or some of the fields are extracting out of the page. So, incompatibility with the device. Non-personalized user deposit experience. I will elaborate on that further. But the idea here is that if we know the user, let's use this information in order to give him things that are relevant to him, not to general trader, but to this specific trader. Confusing or complex payment page design. So we see here a page. I don't want to count, but we have too many fields here, right? And the design is very faint. We don't have any logo that will enable him to feel secure. It's a very bad payment page. In the mobile device or in tablet, it will look even worse. The right way to do it is to have a deposit page with as few fields as possible. We can see here, we can see here first name, last name, and country. Those fields can be pre-populated from the CRM system since we know the users already. He was registered on our site. So those fields can be pre-populated because usually most of the users will use the same credit card on the name on the same name that they used when they entered the site. So in fact, what we will have here is only 4 fields. Credit card number, or actually 3. Credit card number, expiration date, and CVV, and that's it. We have some logos, so we feel that we reached the right page and no one is trying to hack us and to get our money outside of the site. In a lot of cases, we can even put an iframe in our site, so the information stays in our site and the feeling is that the user is within the site. Second challenge, lack of localization feature. We see here a German trader. Please put attention, it's a German trader, right? He's getting a page in English, so in a lot of cases he won't be able to read it. You have here only secure online credit card, which is very nice, but in Germany, only 30% of the market is credit card. The rest is all kinds of alternative payment methods that we will see later on. So most probably we'll use this user either because he doesn't understand the language or because he wants to use any alternative payment methods and he doesn't have a credit card. So what is the right way to do it? We need a payment page that will be in the local language. We need to present him with the full options, payment options, which is relevant to Germany, so forth, GiroPay, etc., etc. So we will have the full ability to pay with all the relevant choices, and then we won't lose this user. Incompatibility of the device. I don't know if you can see here, but I have first name, last name, and country. I don't know, maybe there are more fields, but I don't see them. And I see only this part of the page. So maybe I can move the page so I can fill it, but for sure some of the users will leave when they will see this page, or they will try again when they are near their computer, and of course we will lose some of them. So incompatibility with device is a problem, and the right way to do it is to have a payment page which is fully compatible with all kinds of devices in the market. Either it can be laptop, desktop, tablet, or any kind of phone, even more. If you are using a mobile application, you should have the option to enable the users to pay within the application with the proper SDK. Non-personalized deposit experience. So nothing is wrong about this payment page. It's an okay payment page, right? We have logos. It's not too many fields. The design is okay. But it's not personalized. What do I mean by personalized? When the user is coming for the first time, we will present him with all the relevant options. it will be pre-populated from our systems, etc., etc. When the user will come for the second time, this is a returning user, then we will pre-populate the relevant card that he used the last time, or the preferred card that he has. Everything else will be available. He has also Visa with these 4 digits. He has also Diners Club with these 4 digits. And he have all kinds of other alternative payment options. But we know that he preferred to use with his MasterCard, so we will enable him to pay with the MasterCard. And we will pre-populate the form with this. And all he needs to do is to press deposit, in some cases to enter the CVV as well. So in one click, he will pay, and then those 40% will decrease dramatically. And we know that a very big amount of the volume that we have as Forex merchants is coming from returning users. So we will present him with the right payment option or the preferred payment options. We will give him all the other options if you want to pay with something else. And everything will be pre-populated because we have the information already. And the transaction was approved. Now let's look at the case where the user will get a decline. So theoretically, we don't have anything to do, but we do have. We want to be proactive. We want to fight on this customer. We spent a lot of money. I don't remember the numbers, but we spent a few hundreds of dollars, right, to bring this number to a level where he's willing to pay, and we don't want to lose him. So when he will get the decline, we will tell him your card was declined due to insufficient funds. In some of the banks, we can get very detailed decline reasons, 23 decline reasons, 10 decline reasons, 2 decline reasons, dependent on the acquiring bank. But we have a lot of information on the decline. We can know specifically if he doesn't have enough money in his account, we might be able, instead of asking him to deposit 5,000, let's tell him deposit 2,500. Let's not lose this user, but suggest him a different amount. There are all kinds of reasons, there are all kinds of actions that we can do based on the information of the decline reasons, but this will enable us for sure to increase the approval ratios. Secondly, as in the example here, we can offer him to pay with some other payment methods. So he tried to pay with his MasterCard, but we know that he has also Visa, and we know that he has also other options that he preferred to pay. So let's offer him, please try to pay with a different payment option. And by that, we will increase the conversion. And the transaction was approved. And by the end of the day, when we are talking about user experience, we need to know that it's not a recipe that I can tell you do A, B, C, D, and that's it. I can tell you the principle, I can recommend on the strategies, but you need to choose a system where you can not guess, but test. So the system needs to enable you to create different versions of the payment page, unlimited amount of version, per campaign, per country, or maybe just to try to optimize the payment page, move this logo a bit, or whatever. We see here 2 payment pages with a different design, and we want to try one of them. One of them is the payment page that we are using, and another one is a new version that we just invented this morning, and we want to try it. We need to put not all the traffic on it, but let's say 10% of the traffic of the new version and 90% on the other version. And we want to measure the results. So basically here, we see an example how we can very easily see the effectiveness of the payment page, of the 2 versions of the payment page in all kinds of parameters. Payment clicks, traffic, approval ratios, volume, etc., etc. And we can decide and we can optimize. Obviously, it will require us also to have a system that enables us to design the payment page very easily with a drag and drop mechanism, not something that will take me a week to design a new payment page and I will need a developer, but something very easy and very sophisticated in the sense that it will enable me to test, as I do today in the marketing conversion funnel, I want to have in the payment conversion funnel. I want to try to move the logo, I want to remove some of the fields, I want to change the order of the fields. I'm doing it in 1 hour, half an hour, and I'm trying. After a day, I'm measuring, and in that way, I'm optimizing all the time, and I'm bringing the results to the best possible level. So those were the strategies how to decrease the 40%. We have customers that are losing only 5% of the user on this stage. Those are the numbers. Lose 40% of the users or lose only 5% of the users. Fraud prevention. So the main challenge in fraud prevention is to minimize the false positive while maximize the fraud blocking. So we don't want to get chargebacks, right? This is something that we certainly don't want to get. But from the other side, we don't want to block good users or good traders that appear from some reason as fraudsters. There are two main issues. Slow reaction time to ever-evolving fraud patterns. The fraudsters are becoming more and more sophisticated. We need to follow those fraudsters, we need to track them, and we need to insert our answer to those new fraud patterns into the system. And we need to have a customized risk rules engine. Forex fraud system is not the same like retail fraud system. It's not the same like dating fraud system. Social Forex risk system is not the same like regular Forex fraud system. And in some cases, we have differences between the countries. In some countries, the limits will be that. In other countries, the limits will be different. So we want to use not just a generic set of rules. We want flexible and customized rule set to our specific business. So the process of the risk management flow, the risk management flow should start from validation, right? The basic is to just validate the expiration date is correct, et cetera, of the card. Then we want to have a mechanism of online scrubbing that in real time will review the transaction and will decide either to filter it because it's a clear fraud, or to send it as an alert to you, to the merchant, to review it later on and to decide because this is a suspicious transaction according to our parameters. But maybe this is a VIP customer and I know him, or it's a user that you can call and you can validate him, and then you don't want to lose him. Afterwards, the transaction will go automatically to the bank. Online scrubbing should take nothing in terms of the respondent time of the user, so we need to make sure that the risk system is fast, obviously. The bank will authorize it or decline it, and then afterwards, after the process theoretically finished, we need to have manual review. We need to have a team of analysts, the risk provider, your chosen risk provider need to have a team of analysts that will review the transactions all the time, will identify new risk patterns, and will bring them back to the online scrubbing. New algorithms to respond to the new patterns of the fraud. This is a short example of a rules engine where the rule is generic, limit of amount, limit of the time, greater than 2,000, etc., etc. This is not sophisticated. This can create false positive. The right way to do it is a system where, where the rules will be more sophisticated. We will have more parameters. And I think that now is the right time to show you a short movie of 2 minutes with case studies of fraud cases that we catch.
We are about to show here the actual fraud attack detected by SafeCharge's monitoring tools. Review the action taken using the risk management technologies to immediately block the attack. It was mid-March 2013 when the attack on a Forex merchant began. SafeCharge's automated alerting system identified a new fraud pattern in the merchant's transactions flow. The same email was being used with multiple unique identities within minutes between one deposit attempt to another. Names, billing addresses, credit card issued by different banks, etc. All deposit attempts have the same amount in origin. Various emails that shared the pattern above on the same day. All transactions with the above pattern use the same domain name, Outlook.com. Estimated cost damage from this daily fraud attack summed up to $160,000. As the alert came in, 3 new rules were created in the specific merchant's profile. First rule, block all further attempts from customers originating from the United States with the domain Outlook.com. Second rule, Review cases with the same email address and 2 different bins, 2 different names, 2 different addresses during a 1-hour time frame. This will prevent attackers that alternate their email domain. Third rule, review cases where an IP address has more than 3 email addresses during a 1-hour time span. The simplicity of setting additional rules to the flexible rules engine allows the experienced SafeTrust fraud prevention team to react quickly within the same day to any type of fraud attack. All further transactions were blocked and did not go through. With such a flexible tool that requires no development for new rules, fraud attacks are prevented within minutes from detection and provide merchants with maximum protection.
No, not again. Okay. So to summarize that, we need to have a risk system in terms of technology that we would have a flexible rules engine with all the relevant information, of course, device fingerprinting, IP geolocation, age verification, etc., etc. And we should have a service which will be knowledgeable, and we need to have a dedicated risk specialist that will give us the best strategies to fight fraud, and will work with the merchant risk manager in order to customize it to the specific business model. More than that, we talked so far only on prevention of fraud transaction. In some cases, we will have chargebacks. We need to have a risk team that will enable us to represent it with the bank and to fight those chargebacks. And with the right representative team, you can reach 80% of winning of chargebacks. So those are the ways to take those 10% to 2%, to increase the approval ratio by 8% of the fraud system. Bank's approval. So the main issues that we encounter, and this is something that I'm not sure that all people are aware of it, in the ecosystem, in the payments ecosystem, you have the PSP obviously, but you have also the acquiring bank. The acquiring bank is approaching the issuing bank, the bank who issued the card, and both of them has risk systems. Those risk systems, or the relationship between the acquiring and the issuing bank, are not identical between all the banks. And because of that, we see a lot of cases where the approval ratio of the same bin, same currency, same country, is different between the banks. I will show you later on real-time examples. In some cases, the second part, acquirers has also downtime. They have systems and they have a downtime. You need to have a system that will enable you automatically, without losing even one transaction, to move the transaction to the other bank. And of course, you need to route the transaction to the best bank in terms of approval ratio from the first place. So in order to do so, you need to have smart transaction routing, and of course work with more than one bank, because you want to use the best part of each bank. So with the right payment measure, with the right smart transaction routing mechanism, we analyze the transaction according to the IP, country, bin, currency, etc., etc., between the different banks. We know which is the best bank in terms of approval ratios. The transaction will be sent to the best bank in terms of approval ratio. If the transaction will be declined, it will move automatically to the second best, to the second bank, which is the best in terms of the approval ratio. In the case of technical problem with some of the acquiring bank, then automatically the transaction will move to the other bank. Again, we are not losing even one transaction because of technical problem, and we are optimizing between the banks. Now let's put some reality into those slides. This is a real-time example. You can see here the different bins. The bin is the first 4 digits of the credit card. And you see here the average approval ratio. Same industry, of course. We are not checking here Forex versus gaming versus retail. We are checking here only Forex. And we see here differences of up to 10-15% on the same bin, same card. So we can see here 97% versus 78%. Bank D is giving 97%, Bank C is giving 78%, and Bank B and Bank A are somewhere in the middle. This is the reality. Those are the differences between the banks. So a smart transaction mechanism or a smart PSP with a good gateway will enable you to send the transaction that is coming from this bin, from this UK bin, to Bank D. If Bank D will have some kind of a problem, it will send it to Bank A, and Bank C will be last priority. But Bank C might be the best for other bins. We are seeing here only European traffic. It is even more problematic on other regions. So optimization is the name of the game. Send the transactions to the best bank in terms of the specific bin approval ratio, and optimize between the banks. Work with more than one bank. One gateway, more than one bank. So let's summarize everything. We discussed user experience, fraud prevention, and banks approval. And those are the numbers that we can improve. We can improve the user experience by 35%. So we can lose only 5% of the users. In fraud prevention, we can increase by 7%. We saw 10% in some merchants. We can move it to 3% with the right fraud system. Banks approval, we can improve by 5 to 7%. There is no magic in bank approval, but still 5 to 7% are a lot of money. All this money is going directly to your net margin because you invested all the marketing dollars. And then instead of losing 65% of the users, you will lose on average only 30%. In some very good cases, even only 20%. And I'm sure that as a merchant, you can appreciate the fact that approving instead of 35 users out of 100, 70 will make all the difference for your business.